What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the Pika Pika Papa, and today in a totally out of order, out of sync video, we're going to be looking on today, which is Wednesday, we're going to be looking at the biggest movers and shakers on the TCG Player website from last week. And usually I do this every Sunday. If you watch this channel at all, you know every single Sunday I take the information that TCG Player gives us in regards to the biggest movers and shakers or cards that have been moving with the most velocity on their website, and I do content on it. Now, I do that for a couple reasons. First off, I think it is incredibly impactful when TCG Player shares this information with us. It lets you and I know what is actually going on in the hobby, right? TCG Player is one of the biggest websites for buying and selling Pokemon. And the other thing is I fall in love with this list because the list is always so diverse. You know, I think a lot of us, and I say this all the time, a lot of us really get tunnel vision in the Pokemon space. We're only focused on the here and now, but this list shows that there are a lot of other people out there who are focused on some very different areas in the Pokemon space. And in our attempt to level up our investing in collecting mines, you know, it's great to see that type of information. So that's why we do the video. Now, on Sunday, I was on my way home from my sister's wedding in Spain, so I wasn't able to do it, and I was actually not going to do this video at all this week because guess what? In a couple days, we're going to be doing the next one on Sunday, right? But when I looked at the list of cards that TCG Player sent last week, I said, these cards are, there's too much awesomeness going on this list for me not to do the content, even though it's going to be a little bit late. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I looked at the card prices are still going up. So they were movers and shakers last week, but guess what? They are still movers and shakers this week. And I'm really excited to share it with you because, you know, on this channel, the channel's been around for almost 2 years now, which is wild to say. And obviously, you know, we are a very data-driven channel. We do a lot of repeat videos, which gives us a lot of data points where we can do comparisons and kind of see how things move over time. And we're starting to learn a lot. Like one of the things that I've noticed really over the last 3 or 4 months is I'm starting to notice a lot of patterns and a lot of trends, and we're starting to be able to call out some things pretty early on before they happen. And this video, actually, this content from TCG Player has a couple of those things in it. So I'm very excited to share it with you. And it's one of the things I love so much about this channel is the longer the channel goes on, the more data we accumulate, the more patterns we start to look at, and the more trends we try and analyze. I just think the more information we're going to be able to kind of understand, and the better we're going to be able to identify trends earlier on. And that's what we all want to do as collectors and investors. So with that out of the way, as I said, we do fun stuff like this all the time, this specific list every Sunday. So if you want to see more of it, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. And if you got questions or comments, drop them down below. So with that out of the way, let's get into the very first card that was on the movers and shakers list. And this card has just gone absolutely crazy over the last month. And this is the Mew EX from Paldean Fates. And this is a $170 card right now. Now you can see those light blue lines. I always talk about it when we do this video series. Those light blue lines represent the number of cards that are sold in a single day. And you will see that there were a couple months around 10, 22, 23, 24, where there were some big days where a lot of these cards sold, and a lot of times that drives the prices up. But when you see this price trend graph, like it is very consistent, it's very steady, it's very smooth. So I wouldn't necessarily call this a buyout. I just think a lot of people on that date recognized that this card is continuing to grow in value, and they wanted to go ahead and get them a piece. Now, I have been saying this about Paldean Fates for quite a while, and specifically about the Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes. Like, I think Paldean Fates has the opportunity to be a very special set. You have this Mew EX, the Bubble Mew, which a lot of people love. Obviously, the price is going up because people just are crazy about this card. And I agree with them. I think the artwork's really cool, it's really unique, and I love that about it. But then you also have the Charizard, okay? Now the Charizard hasn't been spiking in price, but more importantly, it also hasn't been dropping in price. It has been holding north of $100 pretty much ever since this set came out. So you have a specialty set, which has a very strong track record of performance. Specialty sets, for the most part, do really well over time. Then you have 2 cards that are over $100, and when you look at the history of sets, you know, having 2 big chase cards in it have a very good indicator of sets that perform well over the long run. Now this set is relatively new. We could see these cards come crashing back down in price. We could see huge restocks or reprints of this set. All of those things could happen, but at least for now, there is a lot of positive momentum for the Paldean Fates set. And one of the things that I've called out recently and we're starting to see happen was this Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer box, which I talked about. When you think about specialty sets, like this set right here, this will be the rarest sealed product for this specialty set, right? You can't buy this in Target or Walmart. You can't buy it at your local card shop. Like, this is specific to Pokemon Centers, and not even everyone in the world has access to Pokemon Centers, right? There's only several of them out there. So these Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes, there's 2 additional cards, or 2 additional packs in there. Then you have the stamped promo in there, which the Mimikyu stamp promo is awesome artwork. So you put all of that together, plus you have these 2 chase cards. Like, I mean, this thing was going at almost MSRP on the secondary market for a long time. Now, we've started to see since the end of September, this has started to go up in price. Now, it's not going to do what the 151, you know, Elite Trainer boxes are doing, where we see the Pokemon Center version of that is up over $220. I don't think it's going to do that. But when you think about the fact that, hey, if you missed the boat the first go around, this is sold out, at least on the US Pokemon Center. Who knows if it's going to be restocked, but it's sold out for now. If you want access to this, and if you do have beliefs that this is going to be a great set in the long run, getting it for just, you know, I don't know, what is this, 18 bucks above MSRP, you know, it is a very approachable price point. I think this is going to do really well. I have 3 sealed cases of it in my Poke Closet, and I'm very happy to have it. So love this set, love what's going on with those 2 chase cards, and again, I think this is a really approachable price right here for the rarest sealed product that there's going to be for Paldean Fates. Now, the next thing, speaking of 151, I'm not going to go through all the 151 cards that are going absolutely crazy right now, but I will talk about this Venusaur, and I'm talking about this card specifically for a reason. So you see that it is spiked up in price, right? It's a $73 card right now. But one interesting thing is there has been an announcement that there's going to be a new 151 product that's going to be launched. I believe it's in February of 2025. It's going to have 12 packs in it. We don't know what the promo cards are, but I believe it's going to be 12 151 packs, and there's going to be 4 promo cards. Now, my expectation is that it's going to sell out almost immediately everywhere. I can't even imagine what pre-sales are going to be like. So I don't think, personally, I don't think that's going to have a huge effect on the value of these cards long term. I think 151 is a very special set, and I've said this before, like, there might be reprints, there might be restocks. Obviously, we're seeing a new product coming out, but every time I have said that, I have said that I think the demand is so high, the artwork is so great. I think this set has the ability to kind of push through all of that. Maybe we'll see some short-term price fluctuations, but in the long run, I think this set is going to be just fine. Now, this Venusaur card has spiked up quite a bit. It has flattened out a little bit. But what was interesting was the other cards that were on the movers and shakers list. It was not this Venusaur, although this one was on it as well. This was the Venusaur on the movers and shakers list, which really caught my attention. Okay, so this is the base set holo Venusaur right here. And I told you, we look at those blue lines, the light blue lines right there, and the one thing I want to call about this, and what we'll look at here in a minute too, is obviously somebody got very excited on, I don't know, it looks like it was 10, 18, 10, 19, and they bought 7 of them off of TCG Player. So that's where you see the price spike like this. They could have bought all of them that were on TCG Player and trying to set, you know, a new standard or a new price for this card. You can buy them all at a certain price and list them at another, right? And hopefully you have the ability to make more money. But I think this is interesting because we have seen how sometimes a new set can drive prices of an older set up. Now, this is the base set, okay? Because when we're talking about base set is just a beast all in of itself. It didn't need 151 to draw the attention and to see the price spike. But we did see this in the Venusaur. And then we also saw a couple more, right? This card right here is another one where somebody went in, probably the same person, and bought all 8 of them. Now, there has been 1 or 2 additional sales since, which have supported the new price point, but it was that one purchase of all 8 on that same day, which really caused the spike. And then you have this one right here, right? You got the Poliwrath, and you see the same thing happened again. Somebody bought 11 of those cards on the same date, spiking the price up. But then look what you see after. You see the day after, one of them sold for $22. A couple days later, another sold for $22, and then another, and then another. So they might be setting a new low here. We need to give it more time to see what happens, but as people become in love with this 151 set, as it continues to grow in popularity, it'll be really interesting to see if that causes some people to look back on the base set, the original, the OG, the original set of all Pokemon from 1999. Now, I will say this. I have a big, strong conviction that that set is going to do well in the long run. And I'm going to do a whole video on why I believe that, you know, at a later date. But I will say this. If you are looking to get into that 1999 set, the original one from Pokemon here in the US, if you have the ability to, I would encourage encourage you to get the Shadowless or the first edition. Now listen, everybody has a different Poké budget. Everybody needs to get collect what makes you happy. But I will say this, if you're looking for a true investing standpoint, I do think all of them will go up. Base set 2. I do think Shadowless and first edition will go up, but I think when you get into the Shadowless and first edition, you know, I think that those have the biggest opportunity for higher percentage gains over time versus base set and base set 2. So that's just my personal opinion. Always the older the better, the rarer the better. I'm a big believer in that. And obviously the minter the better is where. So I think this is really cool. I thought that was interesting to see these OG cards popping up when 151 is in the middle of doing the exact same thing. Now, the next thing we're talking about is this Giratina. And if you saw my video on Sword and Shield price movements month over month, again, that's another thing where I aggregate the top 20 singles cards from all of the sets that have booster boxes. I do it for Sword and Shield, I do it for XY, I do it for Sun and Moon, I do it for Scarlet and Violet. Again, lots and lots of data. What we saw in this Giratina card was it had spiked up and it was coming down in price. It was dropping hard, just like a lot of the alt arts were, right? All that happened after that really crazy alt art spike when all the booster boxes from Sword and Shield started selling out on the Pokemon Center. But when this card hit, you see how the dark blue line kind of flattens at $325. A lot of times we will find cards hit support lines at these round numbers, 300, 310, 325, whatever it is. For whatever reasons, these kind of like easy numbers seem to be where the market supports them. And when we see these support lines like this for quite a while over the course of a month or 2 months or even a couple weeks, a card that's as awesome as this from a set like Lost Origin, we were saying, hey, listen, there's a good chance that this one could break out. And it has. Not a huge breakout, but when you think about the price gain from $325 all the way up to $360, that is a pretty significant dollar amount of growth over the last month. And I don't know how much legs this has in it. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's just another really cool example of where when you see these support lines that are starting to form, when we do these data dives, when we do these comparisons, when we look at how these cards move month over month, it's interesting to see this. We've seen this in Sun and Moon. XY has had a heck of a 2024, and we've seen this a lot in Sword and Shield as well. So it's cool to see these cards make a list like this, because again, remember, this isn't my list. This is TCG Player who sends the information out. So it's really cool when we talk about something on the channel, about a card moving or a card having the opportunity to break out, and then TCG Player sends us information like this, because it's actually happened. Really cool stuff there. Now, the next one that we're talking about, and the final one on the list, is the Greninja EX from Twilight Masquerade, the card that defies all logic as far as I'm concerned, but it doesn't matter what I think about the card. All that matters is what you and the rest of those beautiful Pokemon collecting and investing minds out there think, because guess what? The card's up to $322, which is absolutely wild for a brand new ultra modern card from Twilight Masquerade. Greninja, which is obviously a big name. I wouldn't argue it's the biggest name in all of Pokemon. I will be very interested to see how the Pikachu from Surging Sparks stacks up against this Greninja. Obviously, Pikachu is a bigger name. I think Surging Sparks is going to be a better overall set than Twilight Masquerade, so it will be interesting to see if Pikachu can match this kind of performance. It is really, really hard. I mean, ultra modern Pokemon cards over the $200 mark, over the $300 mark, I mean, that is rare air. It takes something very special for that to happen, especially because print qualities are so high, right? Like last I checked, this thing had a 65% gem rate, so it is not hard once you get this card to get it in a Gem Mint 10 holder. So really interesting card. I am fascinated by this. I watch this card all the time on TCG Player, even though I don't do a lot of content on it, simply because it kind of gives me an idea of what's going on in the hobby just at a macro level. So people love this card. Obviously, there's a lot of people who believe in its long-term prospects, or else they wouldn't be selling it over $320. So that's it. That's the end of the movers and shakers list this week, and it was a ton of fun. And I can't wait to put the next one together and show you on Sunday. I mean, again, we walk away from this with all kinds of learnings. The diversity is there. It is just a ton of fun to do this. So I hope you enjoy the content. I hope you find value in it. And if you do, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I got a small channel here that goes a long way in helping me out. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. And you got questions or comments, drop them down below. I appreciate you more than I can say. I hope you have an epic one. I'll talk to you later, everybody. See you. Bye.